This is Picking Up the Pixels, episode 83, RPG Love, for June 2018. Welcome back to another episode of Picking Up the Pixels RPG Love. I'm your host, Boston, and joining me as always is Musim.
Hey.
And Mina.
Hello.
Apologies if it's a little bit of a weird episode this month. We're all sort of out of sorts, so just keep that in mind as we get underway here. But I don't think I have any announcements here at the beginning, so let's just kick it off with you, Musim.
Okay, so I got sick of video games this last month, and
Ditto.
didn't play a ton.
Yeah.
But I did go ahead and beat Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Oh, nice.
Oh, dang.
I have something like 180 hours in that game. I did not do all the side quests.
Wow.
I did not get all the blades available to me on the first playthrough. I still don't have Cosmos.
Oh, that sucks.
I literally opened hundreds of those cores, like hundreds.
So I've talked to a lot of people who are flabbergasted that my first one was Cosmos. Even like, because I know you get the one that's default, whatever it is that you can never get rid of, the first random one. But my first core that I opened after that was Cosmos, and everyone I've ever talked to has just been stunned that was the case.
You are incredibly lucky. Like,
yeah.
I don't necessarily recommend the Xenoblade Chronicles 1 or 2 Reddits, because they're probably about, we'll be generous, we'll say 30% porn.
Right.
Woo.
But a good chunk of the Xenoblade Chronicles 2-1 is people, posting memes about not getting Cosmos.
Oh, right, working in the salt mines.
Yeah.
Because, the data miner, found out that there's literally a 0.1% chance to get her.
Right.
Yep.
So, but...
Ugh.
I like the ending to that game. I like a lot of the things that happen in it. I think they probably could have edited some of it out. They have one kind of sequence I didn't necessarily think was necessary, but I obviously don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but I do have an issue with the game as a whole in that they have a lot of really good, I think, character development for all the bad guys the last dozen or so hours of the game.
Mm.
Let's say the last 25% of the story of the game. And I feel like the other 75% of the story would have been a lot better if they had brought some of that stuff out sooner. Even if the main characters didn't know, I think it would help. I don't think it's one of those you're frustrated with the character for not knowing. I think it's more of it makes the villain way more interesting when you know more of their background.
Right.
I don't know if the main character Rex ever still grabbed me by the end, but I don't necessarily think he was bad. Anyway, I started New Game Plus, transferred everything over, and got all the rest of the DLC quests, and I think I got to Chapter 3 within 2 hours.
Wow.
That's fast.
You just walk over everything, everything that was hard, you've already collected everything. You probably have extras of everything you needed. And all the enemies, all the bosses you kill in one hit. And when you start the game, you have Pyro already. So, it's just funny how that went down. Anyway, so I drew a few cores in the New Game Plus because you're supposed to be able to get some of Torna's blades, and immediately got one within a couple pulls, which felt good because it had, like I said earlier, literally been hundreds of cores since I last got anything. So that felt nice. I got the core Malice is using at the beginning of the game. I don't remember his name. Sever, I think. But anyway, that's I still really like that game, but I feel like I'm at a good point where I can shelve it for a little bit and then come back to it later.
Yeah.
I don't disparage anyone who takes issue with the game for the how do I say this, with the female aesthetic of the game.
Right.
They definitely got a pervy side going into that, but I think gameplay wise and kind of world wise they got a good thing. Even if they really needed, like, I can't remember if I said it on here before, but their UI, basically their main 3 UI people quit, like, during the development of this game, which explains so much.
Right.
Because they didn't hire anyone to fix that. They just did it themselves, so. Sorry, just glance through our notes real quick. And they, it's funny because they kept doing up closes on Pyra on Pyra, and the way the art is drawn in that game, so none of the characters really look like they have noses. You know, it's that anime style where they have a line for their nose. And when they do a close up and it's just like their nose in their mouth, it really just looks like a Voldemort situation. And they did that a bunch during the ending, and it creeped me out a little bit. But anywho, also popped back into Warframe. I've been playing so many phone games over the last month. I thought I really got to get myself back into PC and console games. Warframe seems like it should be the perfect thing, since it's kind of a combination of, it's got kind of the phone game freemium system in it, but it plays like a really good action game.
Right. It's like some comfort food too, like you don't have to learn a new system.
Yeah. But unfortunately, like, I got back in and it still looks really good, it still plays really good, but I just don't, like, all the stuff I need in that game, I don't want to do what I need to do to get it.
Right.
Like, I got all the parts for one of the frames of Abound Prime, and I need 7,000 Oxium to get it. And Oxium grinding is one of the most annoying things to do in that game. I don't know if it's gotten better over the years, but, like, you used to have to get this very specific team composition and go to a very specific level. So, like, you'd have 2 Hydroids that were built to be Pilfer, which means, like Hydroid's this weird pirate tentacle frame, and he has a special mod you can get from one of the clans that basically, when he does his big tentacle attack on everything, which is basically summons 3 giant tentacles that attack in a certain area for X amount of time, it causes them to steal items from people. So you have to get that. And then I can't remember what the other 2 are. I think you need a Necros for the to loot the corpses again, and then I think you need like a Speed Nova to hurry things along, or something like that. Point being, it's a pain in the butt to get the team together. You're playing at this point the content you don't want to play, because the most interesting content in the game is the Plains of Eidolon, right?
Right.
So it's really kind of killed me wanting to play that game. I like the gameplay loop. I don't like trying to figure out a team composition and then find a bunch of strangers to go grind on a level with me for half an hour to get very specific drops. Like, I wish I could just play what I wanted to play in the game and, gradually get the drops I needed.
Right.
And I don't know that's something they can ever change, but I can't imagine I'm the only veteran player who kind of feels that way, and I bet they'd also endear a lot more new players if they could find a way to kind of smooth that out.
And I feel like the recommendation would probably be like, oh, well, just, hop together with your clan, and you should have some people that are looking for the same gear, and misery loves company, but that's not really the right solution.
Keeping an active clan in Warframe is a chore in itself. No one in my current clan is active.
Unless you're playing, like, that's the only game you're playing.
Yeah. And that's not going to be me again. I can't imagine it.
Right.
Can't go back down that hole.
I feel like that's something that the dev team over at Warframe feels like the one that's actually pretty responsive to like ideas and suggestions. So I feel like if the community itself were to approach and bring like that sort of issue forefront and say like, hey, can you do something about this? I feel like this is a dev team that would actually listen and try and find ways of fixing that. I wouldn't say that about any other company.
Cough,
really?
Bungie, cough.
Right, but but they would, I feel.
Yeah. I agree too, but like after the last Reddit post on Warframe I made, where I made a suggestion and then had the community kind of skewer me alive for making the suggestion.
Like, oh, good times.
I really don't want to do it again.
Burn the witch.
That was, I think my suggestion was, I want a universal account. You don't have to. I want it to be like Brave Exvius, where.
Well, that doesn't sound so crazy.
I know.
To ask for a universal account.
Well, and the entire community came and said, no, they signed contracts with Microsoft and Sony saying they can't do that. You shouldn't even ask. You're wasting your time. And, like, just beat me up over that. And I'm like, well, they're definitely not going to do it. Like, if you guys aren't going to raise an issue about it.
Yeah, I with the Destiny 2 community had the same argument this week where it's like, they signed contracts with Sony that said they can't do it. And it's like, I don't really care. Yeah. Just make it happen.
Yeah. I mean, I don't... I mean, they have digital transaction records. Like, they can easily tell, okay, you're not allowed to use this here, you're not allowed to use this here, or whatnot like that. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Like, and right now, Sony and Microsoft have 0% chance of me spending money on their platforms on Warframe. And
exactly.
I typically have spent $100 to $150 on Warframe a year.
Yeah.
It has gone, we'll say average, because the first year I didn't spend any. The second year I probably spent $300, and then the third year I probably spent less than $100, and this year I don't think I've spent any. So probably averages out, but I don't know. It's something that would, I could play with Moonpier on Xbox One, but I think the Dimp plays on PS4 still, but I will probably never actually be able to play with those guys because I just don't want to, I want my stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to start over and do all that grinding again. It takes so long. Anyway.
Well, I mean, that's the same stuff that the Destiny 2 stuff is going through, because, I'd love to play with, Moonpier and his wife over on Xbox One for that, but I can't, because I'd have to start... I would be willing to invest in another copy of the game if I could carry over all my stuff, but I can't carry over any of my characters or gear. I have to start over completely fresh, and that's not... I don't have that much time.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
So, what else have I been playing? Speaking of Moonpier and Xbox One, so I'm sorry, Mina. I bought Monster Hunter World for Xbox One.
It's okay.
Moon got me a Xbox subscription. Thank you, Moon.
Moon bought me Monster Hunter on PS4, and he can't even play with me, so I can't complain.
Well, I got it, and I still haven't played with Moon yet. I kind of just... I think it was last week, I figured out that I could get the game for $30 if I had Best Buy price match and then use some certificates I had. So I'm nowhere in that game. I played through, I killed the first, I don't remember what it was, some lizard thing. You have to chase around a whole bunch. So I really haven't done a whole lot. I chose the insect glaive for a weapon, which...
Yeah.
After talking
I love that one.
I'm glad you guys feel that way, because
that's my main. I don't play any other weapon besides that.
Oh, that makes me feel better.
That'd be the one I would go for. It looks so cool.
I was talking to my friend Justin from the Tiltcast, and he's like, man, that's the hardest one. You should really try something easier to start with. I'm like, but I could do acrobatics with this.
Yeah.
I'm like a ninja.
I think it's only hard in the sense that there's so many things you got to do with. You got to upkeep your what is it called? The colors. I can't remember. You got to upkeep the colors for the most damage, and there's a lot of acrobatic stuff that you have to do with it, and just knowing that you got to optimize your bug and the weapon. It's not just let's just upgrade the weapon, it's like, no, we gotta upgrade bugs too, and so there's like a lot of more stuff into it. But to me, I don't think it's all that much. I think if you have a good time with it, then that's the right weapon for you.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the nice part about Monster Hunter World having so many different types of weapons. It's like, if you want to be your standard MMO tank, sword and board, like, get right in there, you can. Or if you want to flip around on a monster's back like a ninja, like, pick the insect glaive.
It looked awesome. I landed on the lizard thing's back a couple times, and that was...
Yeah.
Yep.
I bet that never stops being cool.
It never stops being cool ever.
Yeah.
And everyone thinks you're the greatest person ever when you do that too. They're like, yes. I
all
always
in a
get
day's
like,
work.
Yeah, they all go into their little menu and type the good job. Like random people are just like jazzed when it happens. So like,
that's
you always
just me
feel
and
good
my
about
bug,
it.
clocking in and clocking out.
I haven't really figured out how to use the bug. Like, I know I went through the tutorial, and I know I launched it at things, and I know it can select things for me.
Yes.
I cannot consistently execute those commands.
It takes a lot of practice, and I've been playing the insect glaive since it was first introduced. So different monsters have different spots on them where you can grab a different color, the red, white, and orangey yellow. It's one of those colors. And typically red is like probably the monster's most aggressive attacking spot. So like if a monster has like maybe like a horn on its face, or it attacks with its claws or its mouth or something like that, that's probably where you're going to get the red from. The white is the speed boost, and it typically comes from like wherever the monster's most movement is from. So maybe the legs, the wings, that sort of thing. That's probably where you're going to get the white buff. And then the orangey yellow buff is the one that I find to be the most inconsistent, but that's the armor buff, and that comes from a lot of places. Typically on the monster's back is where I've had the most success on that one, but sometimes if a monster has like a really like sturdy face, like a rocky sort of crevice, I don't know what to call it, a face, that's sometimes where the orange buff comes from. And if you happen to get all three buffs at the same time, your little bar will glow like crazy, and you'll be super buffed, and you do way crazier acrobatics when you're in that buff, and it does way more devastating damage. You run around faster, like everything's so much better when you have those three buffs up. There's a fourth color you can get, which is a green color, which heals you.
Ooh. And
that comes from random spots on the monster. Sometimes I get it from like their tails, or sometimes they have like a little, like a monster might have like a little feathery thing on their head, and hitting that is what gives me the green heal. It's not like an actual buff, but it heals your thing up. And depending on how you build your bug, like I always build a heal bug because I like heal bugs. But what happens is when the bug hits the monster, it creates this little powdery dust that just floats in the air, and anybody who hits that powder or whatever will get healed by a healed bug's powder or whatever.
Oh wow.
And it just like it spreads out this heal powder, and you can do like all sorts of different things, like a poison powder or maybe a paralysis one, but I just find the heal one to be so nice, because as long as I keep firing at the monster, I could stand in the back not doing anything besides hitting the monster with my bug, and I just leave clouds of healing bugs just swarming around near the monster. So all the people who are like sword and boarding, or maybe they're just meleeing, if they start getting really hurt, they just turn around, hit one of my leftover bug powders, and they heal themselves. So I'm like the healer in the back line, just sniping the monster and leaving behind clouds of healing dust.
That's cool.
So that's...
I had no idea about any of that stuff.
So that ain't even talking about the acrobatics. So Insect Glaive's really, really cool. I really like it, and I find that no matter where I am in multiplayer, people love to have me there. Like, I don't get in people's way, especially because if you're new to Monster Hunter, if you happen to be in the thick of things with a bunch of people and they're swinging their weapons around, if you're in there, they can like hit you and stun you or knock you on the ground or whatever. And I always find that to be like one of the more frustrating aspects, is just like trying to hit the enemy and being hit by your friends. So what I like about Insect Glaive is when I'm coming in the way that nobody's hitting me. I'm coming in from the air, and I'm swinging around in the air, and nobody's hitting me out of the air. I'm just swinging in there. The only people who have ever hit me out of the air are the ranged people, who will just be like, they'll be firing up in the air to not hit the people on the ground. So sometimes they'll knock me out of the air while I'm coming flying in like a helicopter. So that's what we do. We twirl the little thing in the air like a helicopter, and we swing in there. Oh, I forgot the best part. So there is like a button that you press when you're in the air, that if you hit the enemy and you hit this button, you stay in the air. And as long as you have stamina, you can infinitely stay in the air, hitting the enemy. And I've kept an uptime of like, I don't know, like 30, 45 seconds of just...
Oh, wow.
Just bouncing from one side of the monster to the other, just swinging around up there. That's too much fun. I love the Insect Glaive.
Good to know. I feel like I need to go watch a YouTube instructional video.
Yeah.
But okay, cool. Well, you've reinvigorated me about this weapon then.
Yes. Yes.
It'll be perfect for playing with Justin then too, since he uses the lance. So.
Yeah, and you won't get in his way.
Let's see, and then other than that, I've been playing phone games, so I guess I'll start with Avengers Strike Force. They had the Cable and Deadpool event stuff going on.
The Deadpool raids are just killing us.
Yeah.
There we go, Deadpool.
I love Deadpool. We have not, like, we've gone through the raid 3 times. I don't think... Have we ever gotten up to 60% rewards? I think we've always been 30%.
So the interesting thing for people that are listening that aren't playing Marvel Strike Force is there are sort of normal raids that are always going on, and then there are special raids that are like for character unlocks and stuff like that. Normal raids, we are like 100%ing level 40 raids, and we are just killing it. And then you go on the special event, and it says, oh, it's a level 40 raid, and you're like, great, we got this. Maybe you go 4 or 5 nodes and all of us are getting brick walled. Yeah. It's like, that's okay, well, it's considerably harder. I'm not sure why they call it level 40, but sure, alright. Yeah. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
I don't, and it'd probably be a lot easier to deal with if they gave you more of that item that let you heal your guys.
Yeah.
But I never get that anywhere consistently, and I usually only have enough to heal 1 or 2 guys. And on the Deadpool raid, like, you send all your teams in. Like there was one node where, okay, my main team wiped out, my B team wiped out. Like, I have like 4 or 5 teams. And when I got to like team 4, I realized that this enemy team was equipped to heal itself, and I was actually making it harder by sending in my weaker guys, since they couldn't take anyone out. It's I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I've been running raids with 2 healers all at the same time, because that has made it pretty easy until we get in those special raids, and it's just not happening.
Yeah, the regular raids I don't think are an issue at all.
No.
It's great, but I don't know. I managed to get Cable, but I lucked out, I found out. Because I haven't really, like on my store purchases in that game, I've just been buying shards or materials. I haven't been doing the orbs.
Yeah.
After I saw in chat, I can't remember who said it, but someone said, oh yeah, I'm using the free core currency we're getting to buy the gold orb. And
right.
So then I thought, you know what, I'm going to do that and buy the Cable orb, and got like 10 or 15 Cable shards on it, which was enough to push me over and get it. And I thought, oh, this will be great, we'll get Deadpool in no time. And every single Deadpool orb I have pulled has given me a grand total of 4 Deadpool shards.
Yep. I'm sitting at 60 of 80, or is it out of 100?
It's out of 100.
Yeah, so I'm not anywhere close.
I guess I'm at 71, thanks to those 2 or 3 4 shard orbs.
Right.
Right.
Man, You must have gotten low amounts from the Deadpool campaign thing, then.
Yeah, I did the whole thing, but I feel like I've missed a raid or two.
Oh.
I don't know, I'm having trouble keeping up on my mobile games lately, and Marvel Strike Force I like it because there's a lot to do in there, but sometimes when I fire it up and I look at all the daily quests, it's sort of like, oh boy, this is a lot of stuff to do. Oh no. And I don't.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, I'm really into that game right now. Which to its I'm into that game to such an extent that it doesn't give me enough to do.
Right.
But it doesn't give me enough to do in that, the stamina currency, whatever it is, the little lightning bolts. Like, they run out, and I'm like, well, what's next? Nope.
Right. Close it out.
Unless I want to pump money into this thing, so.
Yeah.
And then I've been playing Brave Exvius. I got back into it pretty hard for a couple weeks when Sephiroth came out, and got Sephiroth, and then they did the Cloud banner again, and I got Cloud.
Oh, nice.
Good. And then they stopped doing event things that had, like the current banner, I have all the units on, so I haven't been even...
Yeah, I pulled so hard on Sephiroth to get him that I don't really care about Cloud that much, so I didn't pull on that banner, but this banner came up, and it's sort of like, I'd like Mercenary Ramza, because I like him as a character, but I'm not gonna pull this one at all, so...
Oh, I thought, the half pulls were still the Cloud banner.
They are.
Oh, they are? Yeah.
So, and that's why I haven't been pulling, because I have everything on the Cloud banner. I have two... Frida's? I can't remember what her name is.
Yeah.
Frida, yeah.
Yeah, I have two of her already, so I don't need another.
I managed to finally pull an Onion Knight. So now it's and now I'm unfortunately gearing up two people at the same time, Sephiroth and Onion Knight, both of which it's incredibly important to get their Trustmaster reward. So that's been a hard choice.
I've been trying to get I never remember his names. Orlando's recommended gear, and I guess some of it is Desh's earrings or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
And that is, I don't, sometimes it seems like I can get a trust reward within a week or two, through the events, and this one is just taking forever.
Yeah, that's been me with Sephiroth. I still had that 100% Moogle from finishing, chapter 1 of the story.
Yeah.
And I used that on Steiner to get his Excalibur 2 for Sephiroth. And after that, it's like, welp, I guess I gotta do the rest of them the hard way. Crap.
There's another weird thing. So, okay, my Orlando, he has an Excalibur. And then I got the other recommended sword for him. I can't remember what it's called. But this other sword I have that gives less bonus to attack, but also it gives a bonus to magic, for some reason increases Orlando's attack stat more than if I put something on him that increased just his attack stat.
Is it the same type of... Is it the same type of weapon? Are we talking about... I don't know if Orlando has a specialized...
Oh, that's a good point.
Buff to long swords,
if he's carrying
something.
2 great swords.
It's got to be something like that. Well, even if I got that second Excalibur from I think it was the Raid.
Oh, the Raid.
And even if I put that on him, it does less damage than if I had this plus 108 plus 90 sword or whatever it was.
Right.
Yeah, he must have one of those some special skill that he's got. Yeah, he's my last unit I'm holding out for. I don't really need him in my team anymore. I unfortunately finally kicked out Lightning, sad to say.
She still makes a good expedition unit, so... Yeah,
and I think the thing that's that makes me feel a little bit more positive is at some point we'll get 7-star units. So I have all these great 5-star units to smush together. And I heard Lightning is okay as a 7-star, so
she is okay.
Yeah.
If anyone has the unfortunate thing where they have 4 lightnings, The benefit of having 4 lightnings is that they can smush her all into one STMR, and her STMR is like this super ridiculous high damage weapon. So
wow.
You know, I mean, it feels pretty bad to have 4 lightnings right now, but
Right.
You'll feel amazing when you get to have the best weapon in the game. So
I love the naming convention for this game too, where it's like, how can we get higher than a Trustmaster reward?
A
How about a super Trustmaster reward? It's like, okay. I hate it, but I also really love it.
Well, if it makes you feel any better right now, Boston, my Orlando has done me no favors in this current new rat whatever boss thing.
Oh, the raid one?
Yeah. Like, I got on the Reddit and they're like, oh yeah, he's so easy. You just use all these units you don't have.
yeah.
Yeah, I've been using a lot of people's Orlando because one of his skills chains really well with my Onion Knight and Sephiroth. Beyond that, it's sort of like, this boss is actually really pretty hard, guys.
Did you both take him out, the rat thing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I mean, it's a little unfair to ask me because I've got way too many
You've been
good
playing
units.
for 15 years.
I've accumulated way too much good stuff now that I don't think they could introduce anything that's a challenge anymore to me, unless they make it really unfair for anybody new.
Yeah, my brother sent a screenshot of him fighting, I think it was that boss with his chaining team, and almost all of them are dual wielding, and he didn't get to the second set of attacks. The first set of attack did like 17.8 million damage, so he just killed it in one turn. I was like, oh man, okay.
I also have the strongest finisher in the game, Aang or whatever his name is, the archer with the crazy LB.
Yeah.
If I chain it right and have him finish, it's just everything explodes.
Man.
So.
I don't. Ash has been my crutch, but not Ash. I mean, Ash is still great. She's on most of my teams. Yuna, that's her name.
Yeah.
2 Final Fantasies off. Yuna's been kind of my crutch through a lot of things, just because her summoning, like not her using other people's summons, but hers using summoning powers to damage things is just pretty epic.
Yeah.
But even she can't get me through this rat boss. I need to actually read up and see what I need to do or what I can do with my current team, and I'm really not that motivated. Like, I spent so much time with that game, like the early part of the month, that I kind of don't mind having a week or two.
Yeah, I'm in the exact same spot where it's like, I'll get in, I'll do my daily pull, and I'll get my Fountain of Lapis reward, and that's about it.
Anyway, that is all I've been playing.
All right, Mina, what about you?
Well, due to a lot of things happening in my life, I did not get to beating Ni no Kuni 2 like I said I would. And,
right.
I feel really bad about that, but honestly, I almost went blind, so I feel like
allowances are expected.
Yeah, I feel like a couple of those weeks were a wash because I just couldn't do anything. So I didn't play a lot of games, and what I did end up picking up was I picked up a new mobile game because why not?
Yeah.
But this one, I don't want to talk about like any of the controversies surrounding it, so I'm just gonna talk about the positives. The name of the game is called Girls Frontline, and
I just saw this today.
Yeah, it's a I don't know how to describe it, but I guess the best way to say is it's a gun waifu game where you gotcha anime girls that are named after guns, and they hold their respective guns as their weapons.
It was like that. My daughter in the background, everyone's fine. She's very excited. It reminds me a lot of that I think it was that anime where it was a bunch of waifus, but they were also battleships.
Yes, so that is what a lot of people have made, have drawn lines to. I have not actually played that ship waifu game?
No, I haven't either. I just know of it because it's ridiculous in a way.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But I haven't played that one. But what I have heard, and I don't know if this is true, and please do not quote me on this one, but I've heard it from multiple people. They have said that this game has a lot more content to do versus the ship waifu game, where they felt like that game was more of a collector sort of game and not really a...
Not a game.
Yeah, not a game, but it was like... I imagine there had to be game elements, but from a lot of people's words, it was really just collecting. What's nice about this particular game, I guess, is how the gacha system is different. I made a video, a new player's guide for this on my mobile channel, and I really went into explaining a lot of the systems in this game, because I feel like this is where the game has the hardest... it's really hard to get into the game, because there's so many systems that you need to know. It's not like one of those, I'll just pick it up as I go along. It's like, you need to learn all of these systems right at the front, and they just hit you with one after another, and I imagine, everyone's just, overwhelmed with all these questions, and something that I continually saw while I was searching around on the Reddit and talking to people about this game was, a lot of people were like, yeah, I found a lot of guides. They are confusing.
Oh, right.
And because there's a lot of guides out there, tons of them, text-based guides. And so that's when I was like, you know what, I'm going to make a video, because while I've been sick, I've played this game a lot.
Right.
Because the game has a lot of good AFK features, so I didn't feel like I didn't have to actively be looking at the screen, so I was able to just, look at the game, boop, 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 alright, close the game, and continue to close my eyes for a couple of hours, open the game up, boop, 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 close the game, and so it just worked out really good for somebody who couldn't look at the screen.
Yeah. If you're looking for that guide, don't forget it's Mina's mobile channel called Mobile Mina.
Yeah. So the guide is really long, and I made sure, because I tried to break it down by the important stuff first and the least important stuff at the end. And then after I made that entire video, I put timestamps in the pinned comment of the YouTube channel, so that way...
wow.
Yeah, so that way if you watch the whole thing through, which is about an hour long, and I realize that's crazy amounts of time to invest into a game, but if you watch the whole thing through and you're like, there's no way I'm going to remember all of that, I made sure to put common questions that you may have in the game, along with timestamps of where it's relevant to get your answers in the comment section.
Man.
So people are able to just kind of jump to where they're lost or confused, or maybe you read a text guide but you're like, I don't understand what this text guide is talking about. You can just kind of take that question that you have, go to the comment section, and click to the relevant part that you're confused about, and hopefully it plays out in a way that makes more sense. And I've received a lot of praise for that, so I assume that it works out well for people. I did it mostly because I am enjoying this game a lot, and the gacha is fun in a way that I think is I think I like gacha games where you can at least do one roll a day. I feel like there's some sort of good feeling to doing at least one. So in this game, the game heavily encourages you to do 4 rolls per day. And they give you all the resources to do that. So the gacha doesn't use paid currency type stuff to do your rolls. You have to gather resources by being AFK in the game. And that's how you get the resources to do polls. So I'm sure the first question that everybody has is, okay, so what about the paid stuff? What are they have to be making money somehow. Explain to me how they're making money. So the paid stuff expands inventory, gives you more teams to build, and so it's a lot of permanent stuff. And there's a second gacha in the game where you can roll for costumes and furniture for your gun girls' houses or dorms or whatever.
All the cosmetic stuff.
It's cosmetic stuff, right? So that's where the money comes in, is cosmetics and expanding your inventories and stuff and teams and whatever. So the game does give you the paid currency by doing dailies and just logging in and stuff, and doing the share social media, whatever. So it's not like you'll never get that currency. You do get that currency, and I highly suggest anybody who wants to play this free, just immediately spend those gems on only expanding your teams, because the more teams you have, the more AFKing you can do, and the more things you can go and gather and do stuff with teams just going out and gathering you resources so you can do more gacha pulls, which is what you want. I already have I think I have 80% of all of the units in the game.
Wow.
And, yeah. So it's really nice.
Yeah.
And I really like the game, and it's a lot of fun. I think that there's some controversy going on right now with censorship on this game, and I am pretty indifferent to the whole controversy, because I understand why some of it has to be covered up, and some of it's just really weird to me. Like, I do not see the point of doing what they're doing with some of them.
Right.
And I mean, we're talking about imagine a girl that has a V-neck, you know, and they're like, whoa, that's
too far.
Too far. That V-neck needs to be, we need to bring that up to a t-shirt. Right. All right, there we go.
Turtleneck on that lady. Sheesh.
That's but that's the ones that I'm just kind of I don't think anybody on this planet would be offended by that V-neck, personally speaking. I'm not. And then there's the ones where you got the panty straps exposed and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, on a specific character that looks a certain age, and I'm like, okay, I can understand you dragging her skirt down. Okay, I'm not gonna be the one person who's gonna be like, why did they do that? No, I'm gonna be like, yeah, okay.
And I think some of that stuff too, the impression I get from a lot of developers is it often seems like it depends greatly on the person that you get at Apple or Google that is reviewing your game, and one person might be like, hey, look, these V-necks are inappropriate, and another person is like, yeah, all that stuff is fine, whatever, that can go on the store. So I wonder if they're just really playing it safe and just making sure that no matter who looks at it, no one's going to find an issue.
I guess that's, I would believe that in a way, but then I've seen, I don't want to make this crude, but there is a character that has a dress that goes from here all the way down to the belly button area that has exposure right there, and you can see a lot of stuff happening. That is not even a V-neck. That's a lot. And but they didn't cover that one up. And so I'm like, weird. I don't understand the one that was a tiny V-neck being brought up to t-shirts or that. So there's a lot of questionable I don't get it sort of things.
Right.
Is there an age thing?
It's not an age thing, because the one that I'm talking about that has the huge V-neck thing actually looks older than the one with the tiny V-neck.
Okay.
And,
weird.
Yeah, and one of them has clearly, I don't know. It's there's just a lot of questionable ones where I'm just kind of I don't understand that one. I don't
there's an inconsistencies.
And I think that's what's probably got a lot of people mad, is just the inconsistency there. I don't think. I think if they tried to just cover up anything that looked okay, this thing looks like she's 14.
Right.
We're gonna cover it up.
Put a sweater on her.
Something. But if it's oh, this one's clearly age 21 plus, it's whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So there's a lot of debates going out, and I just don't get it. But I mean, I'm the type of person who's well, I'm not upset about any of that. Either way, it doesn't really bother me. But what I will say is that I'm not the type of person who's just well, I can't understand why anybody would be upset that they're doing censorship. No, I get it, because I myself don't like the whole censoring art sort of aspect of thing. But that might be because I'm an artist myself, so I don't Like, it's just art. It's not meant to hurt anybody. Like, we're not going around covering the statue of David or whatever, and, you know, like, we're not doing all that
It's clearly
stuff.
not malicious either.
It's not malicious. So, I mean, it's just kind of like, I don't see the point of it either way, but, censorship. So, other than that, I haven't really played anything else, and I'm really sad to say that that's the only thing I've played, because there were so many things I wanted to do. But that being said, go ahead, Boston.
I have not really played a lot myself either. Like Musum, I'm sort of like both of you. I'm not feeling well. I've had some health struggles this past month, and I'm sort of really burnt out on video games after going really hard on a couple in the last couple of months. I am sort of crawling my way through Yakuza 6 pretty slowly, not because it's a bad game, but just because the cutscenes are fairly long. Again, that's also not bad. My attention span is minute at the moment, so when there are two people on screen talking to each other about Yakuza families and history, that's just not a thing that I can pay attention to right now. I did get finished with the very first, I guess the first time you visit the second area, which was really beautiful and just a completely different type of place than the first town. I did unlock finally the clan creator, which is their like build an army, go fight other gangs of people stuff. It so far seems fine. I'm a little worried that it's going to be kind of thin, but I think I am potentially unfairly comparing this to Yakuza 0, which I get the impression had far more content in it than a normal game in the series. So I guess 0 is a really good and sort of bad place to start the series from, but man, that game is still good. But I didn't play too much of it because every time I go into it, there's a new system in there called Troubler. It's an app on your phone that's basically people around town saying like, "Hey man, this guy was just trying to beat me up. Come over here and beat him up." It seems like that's maybe a little too frequent because you'll finish one and another one will come up, and if you ignore them, you'll get a message pretty quickly afterwards. It's like, "That's cool, man. You didn't need to come help me. They just knocked out all my teeth. Whatever." I'm just like, "What? Well, wait, what? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you." So far it's good, but it's not my speed right now. But at some point I'm gonna have to push through it just to get it done, so I can talk about it in my top 10 this year, especially because Kiwami 2 comes out pretty soon. So, oh god, so many Yakuza games. But that's all I played, and actually we're not going to take a break here. We're just going to roll through the very little bit of stuff here we have at the end, because I noticed Mina is slowly melting over there, so we're gonna push through here. So let's talk about RPG releases for June 2018. Vampire comes out on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. This is the new game from the Life is Strange developers. They're making a Victorian vampire RPG.
Crazy.
Did not even know this thing had a release date. So now I didn't figure out if I can fit it in my budget or not.
Yeah, I'm excited for this because I liked Life is Strange, and I'm very excited they're doing something that is almost exactly on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Well, and like their action game that I don't remember the name of, their Future France
Remember Me?
brawler. Yeah, Remember Me. Like, the story in that game wasn't great by any means, but it looked good, it played good, and the sound design was awesome. So I'm excited to see this company keep trying new, like,
keep making weird
else,
stuff.
It will probably be a unique experience, like all the games have.
Yeah. The Banner Saga 2 comes out on the Switch. over time, the whole trilogy is going to come out on Switch, which is probably a pretty good place to play that.
Yeah. I need to pick those up, but I need to start playing games again and beating them before I do.
Right. Well, and at some point, I'm sure like a trilogy box set will come out or something. Like limited run games will put it out. Be one box with 3 cartridges.
It'll feel a little silly buying it for Switch for me, just because I own it on PC and PS4. But Switch really is where I want to play everything right now. So,
especially like a turn-based game, you sort of want to lay on the couch a little bit.
Yeah. Chill
out. And last but not least, Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana is coming out on the Switch now that they have fixed the translation so far as I can tell. Seems like nobody really has a problem with it after it's been resolved, so.
That one is on my radar and I'm getting it.
Yeah.
Cool.
And let's move over to news stories. Bethesda has formally announced the next Fallout game, Fallout 76. It is named after Vault 76, which is going to be probably like most of the games, the start of the game itself. Jason Schreier over at Kotaku is reporting from his sources that it's not going to be your standard sort of Fallout game. It's not going to be the single-player open-world thing. It's going to be some sort of co-op online thing, and that's about as much as we know.
The internet is freaking out about this.
That is putting it mildly, yeah. How could you?
How could you?
I think the one big bummer is that Obsidian's not working on it. They came out pretty early, and it's like, sorry, man, we're not working on it. But I'm sort of interested in this because after Fallout 4, I'm looking forward to them doing something completely different.
I'm glad you guys are positive on it. Because I hate any time Bethesda takes one of their giant open world things and makes an online thing. Like I was commenting this on the Discords, and like Elder Scrolls Online is something I just have to continually trick myself into thinking doesn't exist. Because
that never happened.
Irritates me so much that they are developing portions of Tamriel that have not had their own single player game yet since Arena in this game I'm never going to play because it's an MMO.
But hey, Skyrim just came out on Switch. You could just buy it there.
I did.
I did, you jerks.
The problem with, like, is it called Tesso Online? Is that how people refer to Tesso or whatever?
Tesso,
when I played it, it just felt like it didn't need to be called Elder Scrolls Online. It could have been it could have been named anything. It didn't feel like an Elder Scrolls at all when I played it. It just felt like generic MMO fantasy world being played. And I think that's really sad because I think that while I've only really played Skyrim a lot, what I feel like the biggest thing that Elder Scrolls has going for it is like that deep lore that like people can explore and immerse themselves in, and when it feels just like a watered down fantasy world, that really kills that sort of the positives of Elder Scrolls. So I just don't want them to do that with Fallout, because I think that's part of the best parts of Fallout is the lore behind it. I think they said isn't Vault 76 the first vault that ever opened?
It was like 20 years after the bombs fell as opposed to 200 something that the other ones did.
Right.
I have a lot of friends who are expecting this to be like along the lines of a Rust or a seven Days to Die or something
yikes.
that. Or one of those procedurally generated, here's your world, here's your team, now gather
survival thing,
build and survive. And
I would have a problem with that if they would go that way. Like I guess I wouldn't really mind playing a co-op Fallout, but if it's like a survival thing, I feel like that would damper my excitement, because I think I'm interested, maybe purely academically, to see what they're going to do, changing directions. But I am also a little bit bummed because we've gotten so many great single-player only games over the last year or so that to see something like this. It'd be like if The Witcher 4 was going to come out, and they're like, it's a battle royale game. It's like, well, that's not really what I'm here for.
My favorite internet joke was Fallout 76. 76 survivors were dropped into an island.
Exactly. Fall out of a plane. Yeah.
Oh God. Oh jeez.
Yeah. So like I'm sort of excited to see what they're gonna do, especially because I really didn't like Fallout 4. But I really hope that they're not gonna stray too far from the core. Like, if you just want to say, like, oh, it's another Fallout with co-op and you can play with your friends, cool. That sounds great.
I'm a weird person that typically is just kind of okay with whatever until it comes out. I'm just like, anything can sound good to me right now.
Yeah.
I'll become disagreeable and angry after it's in front of me.
I'll wait to be pissed until you release your game.
Right. So at this point, I'm like, you can have any idea in the world, make it work and make it sound like, make it fun, and as long as it's fun and enjoyable, like, I'll be down for it. But if you mess this up, I'll be the first one there with my pitchfork and torch, and I'll be ready to.
And they have said they're going to show it at E3, which is next month? Or a couple weeks.
We're not too far off.
Yeah, yikes.
But I've seen the internet just, like, go up in flames over this, and I'm just
over
like,
numerous E3 leaks.
We just gotta wait. Just wait.
We just have to wait, like, a week or two.
When did Fallout 4 come out? Like a year or two ago? Like, they take 5 to 10 years to make one of these games, it seems like.
Sure.
So I knew it wasn't going to be the main Bethesda studio doing another Fallout entry, and I'm more Elder Scrolls fan than I am Fallout fan.
Right.
So
you're even more angry.
You could say maybe angry isn't the word, but disappointed.
Right, frustratingly disappointed.
Yeah, like I would rather, but it also depends. Like if they gave, like for me, my ideal co-op game is a game that's single player first, co-op second. So like, hey, come and hang out in my Elder Scrolls world with your guy for a while.
Yeah, like drop in, drop out, no big deal.
Exactly.
I think that's my favorite way of having a single-player game work is the drop-in, drop-out system.
Yeah.
Like, I think the most complicated multiplayer system I enjoyed was, like, Divinity 2, which I think has amazing...
Yeah.
Like that game
but you could totally screw over your friends while playing it. That's what made it fun.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah. It's perfect. I can ruin my friends' game files by coming in.
Yeah, your multiplayer session is definitely okay, this is the one I'm not going to care as much about, but it's still, it's a lot of fun systems to play with. But
yeah, I mean, I guess that leads us into talking about E3, that, E3 is going to happen here, within a week and a half or so. So we'll definitely talk about this and all the other RPG hotness that happens next episode. But hopefully there's a bunch of good RPG stuff. I sort of never expected there to be RPG things at E3, so we'll see.
Kingdom Hearts 3? And, I mean, they leaked screenshots, didn't they?
Those were officially released screenshots.
Maybe we'll get it in like 2025.
They keep saying this year, and I keep laughing at it.
I don't want to hear that. They said that years ago.
Don't tell me your lies.
I'll believe it when it's on the shelf. That's when I'll believe it.
No, I'll believe it when it's installed on my PS4 and I'm playing it. Like it might be an empty box. Who knows?
Right.
I kind of want to make a monetary wager with someone that they don't bring up Final Fantasy VII whatsoever.
Oh, that's a good bet.
I've been hearing like some people talk about like the problems with 7 and like because they took it back from the company that was originally working on it, and sources that don't want to say their names have said that basically all of that stuff was not worth using, so they've had to go back to ground zero on that.
Yeah,
so
I
who
heard
knows? Who knows when that'll come out?
Yeah, they keep saying like, "Oh, we're just going to put it out in a couple episodes, and the first episode will be out in 2019," and it's not.
No,
they need to learn the Nier lesson and just hire Platinum to finish it.
Yeah, exactly. Just put Yoko Taro and Platinum in charge of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
I think what they need to do is not talk about stuff until it's way further in development, and probably after, after they've made sure that the company that's working on it is doing enough work that's worth discussing openly that you're.
But that wouldn't be the Square Enix we know and love.
Instead, we're going to hype it for 20 years.
What's so funny is
Oh, sorry.
the NX side of the house has stuff unlocked. Like, they announced Dragon Quest XI, and it's like done. It's coming out this year for everywhere across the world, and they're set. And then Square is like, I don't know, man. We were thinking about making like Final Fantasy VIII 2. Would you guys like that? And it's like the internet just.
I don't know.
Also, isn't like Nomura the one that's the top name on the 7? But he hasn't been seen, like, apparently they said that he hasn't been seen on that team, like, at all. He's just been working on Kingdom Hearts 3 this entire time. So that's not a good sign either.
Yeah.
Give that guy a vacation. Like, Jesus.
If they're they're already giving Yoko Taro a Final Fantasy game, right?
I hope so.
Just give him the 7 remake.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be over in an hour, meteor crashes, everybody dies.
Yeah.
Sweet.
If
Ending
anyone
A.
is going to
The ending A.
the weird, chibi crap that they put in Final Fantasy VII into realistic
Boston!
figures.
You
He'll
took
find
my
a way.
joke. You said ending A just as I was about to say that. Dang it.
So good. All right, so we'll talk about E3 next month and, Yoko Taro's Final Fantasy VII once it gets a sneak release next week. But our last news story here, real quick, Yakuza 3, 4, and 5, the 3 PS3 Yakuza games that are mainline, not counting the other ones, are getting PS4 remasters. They're not going through a full remake, they're just bringing them up to 1080p 60 frames, which basically that's all you really need because they weren't on PS2. They have not been announced for the West yet, but I'm gonna hope that they're coming out over here because Yakuza is doing very well over here.
Are they slapping them all into one game, or are they making each one individual?
It seems like they're making each one individual, sort of by how they're talking, but I think they're going to be pretty cheap.
Okay.
Because they're not a full. Yakuza 3 comes out in August, and then fall, and then spring of 2019 for the other ones. So every couple of months, they're going to put out a giant remastered Yakuza game. So it'd be nice to have, all 7 games on one platform. It's nice to see Sega make a good decision for once. And give us what we want. So... but that's all of our news stories, and that's our episode for this week. We need to go before Mina just melts into a 104-degree puddle.
Yeah.
If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at pickingupthepixels.com. All the ways to contact us on the right-hand side of the page, including the Discord server. Come hop over there, talk about E3, Marvel Strike Force, Brave Exvius, all the great games we're playing and we're talking about on the show. Musim, where can we find you?
You can buy my music on Apple, iTunes, and listen to it on Spotify and musum.bandcamp.com, and check out my other podcast, thecarouselpodcast.com.
And Mina, how about you?
You can find me on Twitch or YouTube under Mina KO Rocket, or if you're interested in mobile games, I now have my mobile YouTube channel's unique link with Mobile Mina, so that's a lot easier to follow now.
Yeah.
And Boston?
You can find all my shows at e1m1.com. Thank you all, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Musim and Mina, for joining me yet again.
Pleasure as always.
Thank you.
And our adventures continue next month. Bye.
Bye.